Welcome to the Daily Dose channel. Please click on the subscribe and notify button to receive alerts for my latest videos. How to influence and persuade any person. In this video, I will walk you through in detail the steps on how you can influence any person and understand how you are being influenced or persuaded as well. But before we discuss the steps, let's identify first what are the factors that affects you to say yes to anything. According to Robert Cialdini, there are 6 reasons for us to be influenced, and he grouped them as 1. Consistency, 2. Reciprocation, 3. Social proof, 4. Authority, 5. Liking, and 6. Scarcity. Watch until the end of this video for 3 additional factors that greatly influence us aside from these 6 factors. Now, I will tell you a short story about Angelica and how these factors affected her daily life for you to better understand these factors. Number 1. Consistency. One day, there was a 50% off sale on all items on the nearest mall where Angelica lives. Angelica and her friend Angela went to the mall that day to check out what was on sale. As soon as they entered one of the clothing stores, they were greeted by a very polite young saleswoman named Kyla with her biggest smile. Now imagine being greeted by a person with a wide, mesmerizing smile. Kyla asked them about their day. A beam of positivity flowed through them as they talked with Kyla. Angelica and Angela greeted Kyla back with their best smile as well. "We are good," they responded. Kyla offered assisting both in finding the perfect clothes for them. While trying out the dresses, Kyla was consistently complimenting both girls on how they looked great and how the dress fit them so well. After shopping, Angelica and Angela went back to each of their homes. As soon as Angela arrived at her flat, she tried each of the clothes again while looking in the mirror. Suddenly, she realized that she does not need them nor like them at all. She called Angela and told her about the dresses she bought. Angela responded the same way. She also realized that she does not like all of the clothes she bought. So why did Angelica and Angela buy all those unnecessary clothes? Were they forced to buy them? Of course not. This is an example of the consistency factor. To explain, because the saleswoman started out being very nice to them, both felt obligated on maintaining the feeling of good vibes with the saleswoman. Turning down any dress that she mentioned to look great on them will break the consistency on being very nice with the saleswoman. Who would hate a consistent person? This is one of the techniques that many salespeople use on us to influence our actions. Number 2. Reciprocity. This factor is very common, and I'm pretty sure that you'll be able to relate on this example. Let's talk about Angelica and her friend again. The next day, Angelica went to the house of her friend Gabby. She picked her up so they can go to the nearest public library for their research work at school. While working on their research, Angelica and Gabby realized that they forgot to bring their pen and paper to document their research work. Laurie, who was seated near them, heard their concerns and offered her extra pen and paper from her bag. Angelica and Gabby thanked Laurie for her kind gesture to help them even though they do not know each other. A few minutes later, Angelica and Gabby heard Laurie calling both of them. They turned to Laurie, and Laurie mentioned to them that she is selling handmade mini jewelry boxes and offered both if they would like to purchase one. Without any doubts, Angelica and Gabby immediately agreed in buying one jewelry box each. As soon as they got back to Gabby's house, Gabby asked Angelica what jewelry she is going to put in her new jewelry box. Angelica thought hard and realized that her only jewelry is her earrings and nothing else. Gabby had more jewelry than Angelica, but she already had several jewelry boxes and does not know why she bought a new one too. The technique that they experienced is called reciprocity. This is commonly used in supermarkets by some brands that offer free tastes. Let's talk about what happened to both ladies. When Laurie offered to help Angelica and Gabby, both felt obliged in returning the favor to Laurie. Any person will feel that they need to give back whenever they receive anything. This is a cultural behavior because we are taught that it is better to give than to receive. Whenever we receive something without anything in return, we feel obligated to give something back so that we do not owe anything back to the other person. Aside from the need to give back, unconsciously people feel obligated to give back the same value or even more and not something with a lesser value. This is natural behavior. Everyone does not want to feel indebted to anyone. When you give back something with a similar value, you will continue to feel that you are still indebted, so the tendency is to give back with the same or greater value. Number 3. Social proof. Let's continue with Angelica's story. The following week, Angelica went out with one of her classmates to watch the latest comedy movie in town. They were laughing so hard during the entire show and felt great with the movie. After the movie, they went to the nearest diner to grab some snacks and then went back to each of their homes. A year later, while both watching the TV, they found the same movie and agreed to watch again. This time, not even one laughter was heard from either of them. Could this be a case of them already knowing the scenes? Well, possibly, but not entirely. This is mostly because of them being influenced by the laughter of the people around them while watching in the cinema. Have you been on a similar situation where everyone was laughing at a joke and you unconsciously just started laughing too, even if you do not find it funny? This is because of the social proof factor. If everyone thinks something is funny, you will also feel that it is funny, even when it's not. Another example is if you are buying items online. If you wanted to be sure with the quality of the item before you purchase it, you will look for reviews. Now, you do not even know who these reviewers are, and yet you believe them. Don't get me wrong, sometimes these reviews are correct, but some businesses take advantage of this natural behavior of aligning with the social proof by creating fake product reviews. Number 4. Authority. One day, Angelica was told by her friend that she was being called to the principal's office. Angelica unknowingly went to the office and there saw a man wearing a nice black suit with a large eyeglass. He introduced his name to Angelica as Professor Theodore. Angelica introduced herself in return and asked why she was called. Theodore mentioned to her that her grades in math is low and she needed to do community activity for 3 months to get a passing grade to compensate for her failed test. Angelica agreed and signed up to a community street cleaning activity in her district for the next couple of weeks. A few weeks later, after the community event, one of Angelica's classmates confided to her that she was pranked. Professor Theodore was not a real person. He was just one of the senior students that looked somewhat matured. Angelica cried all night that day and felt sorry for herself. Now, why did Angelica not question the directions given by the unknown person who just called himself Professor Theodore? The reason is because of the authority influence. Do you know that if somebody wears a policeman costume and asks you to raise both of your hands, you will follow without even asking? A huge factor for authority is the dress or look. In our culture, we stereotype people and jobs based on their looks or what they are wearing. You know who the doctor and the nurse is. You can distinguish between the boss and the subordinates. This is how authority influences us. The next time you go to a cosmetics store and see a lady wearing a doctor's costume, ask yourself, does this person want to influence me? Number 5. Liking. One day, Angelica and her boyfriend Mark went to a campsite. While driving, the latest song of the famous rapper Dig Light was being played over and over again. Angelica did not like the song at all. After a week, listening to the same radio station that was repeating Dig Light's new single, she ended up adding the said song on her Spotify playlist. At the campsite, Angelica met Sandy, who she knew grew up in Cleveland as well. They started to talk about the places in Cleveland during their childhood. They continued to communicate to one another even after they left the campsite. So why did Angelica start to like the song, and why did Angelica feel good talking with Sandy, whom she just met? Let us talk about the 5 factors for us to start liking. First is appearance. This is a natural behavior of us humans to like people with good appearance. We always look at the physical appearance of other people before anything else. Second is similarity. This is the reason why Angelica had a good connection with Sandy. They have similarities, and this immediately made both feel comfortable to one another. Third is compliment. It's very easy to like people who praise you. Who would not? Whether it's genuine or not, you will surely like the person complimenting you. Fourth is repetition. This is what influenced Angelica to like the new song. Our brain processes several information each day. A new song is a new information that our brain needs to process. But after hearing it again and again, it becomes natural and our brain accepts it as a normal information and no longer processes it like how it processes any other new information. Fifth is association. Have you wondered why it's easy to like your hometown football team even if you do not like them? Our brain has a natural tendency to associate ourselves in any aspect of our life, whether associating within our community or our country or our religion. We always find ways to associate to any groups. This is our survival instinct kicking in during the early days of humanity, when a lone person has a higher mortality rate than those associated with a group. Number 6. Scarcity. Let's go back to Angelica's story. Angelica was looking for a hand-woven bag as a gift for her grandmother who likes hand-woven crafts. She already went to 4 different stores but was unlucky in finding the item. In the 5th store that she tried, the salesperson told her that they have a hand-woven bag. Angelica asked the price and learned that it was priced 4 times higher than her budget. She told the salesperson that she will just return after a month. The salesperson told her it is the last item in their inventory. Angelica ended up buying it that day. A week after her grandmother's birthday, she passed by the same store and saw several stocks of the hand-woven bag. She also saw a new store that was selling a similar bag with a lower price. What happened to Angelica? The scarcity factor was applied to her. The law of supply and demand in the works. We are wired that the scarcer or rarer the item is, the more important or valuable it is. There are some manufacturers that are using fake scarcity technique. By faking that the supply is low, it attempts to increase the demand. As a bonus, we will discuss 3 additional factors that can influence you. Number 7. The costlier, the higher the quality. When buying, do you have this natural tendency of assuming that the higher the price, the better quality it has? Our brain has a natural tendency to use shortcuts to process all the information around us. One of which is this assumption. Because we are used to knowing that higher-priced items have higher quality, some sellers are taking advantage of this. Some would sell counterfeit or fake products at a higher price, and buyers would automatically assume that they are selling original products. Number 8. Asking something smaller after asking a big request. One day, my son was asking me to buy this new toy, a robot that cost $500 that we saw in the toy store. Of course, I said that I will not buy it because of its high cost. After saying that, my son asks me if he can just buy the remote control car sitting beside the robot that costs $75. Now, I don't have a plan to buy a toy for my son because we are buying a gift for his cousin, but I ended up buying the remote control car. I do not know, but it was very difficult to reject his second request. This is because of this factor. This technique can be used at work. Ask your colleagues or direct reports by giving them a very difficult task which can be just your front act. If they say they cannot deliver, offer your actual request and see them accept it without any hesitation. The last item, number 9, is the twisted version of number 8 and being used by people on sales when upselling. Offer something that is smaller or lesser after a high-value item has been bought. For example, after a new house has been bought, offering furniture, or after a car has been purchased, offering car accessories. Our mind will tell us that after buying the costlier product, buying the lesser value item has no impact. So think if you really need the second or third items being offered to you after you purchase a product. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment and subscribe.